Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be back in Chennai. Vanakkam to our Singara Chennai. I was really happy to be back here. I've lived in some really beautiful places, and right now I live in Vancouver, but my heart is still at home, which is Chennai. So when I got a call from Eddie, and he said, I'd like you to talk, or I'd like you to take a stand. And I said, what do you want me to take a stand on? And he said, I want you to take a stand on love, or stand for love. And I said, I would love to take a stand for love. And the love that I can already see some naughty smiles. The love that I'm going to speak about is not the romantic love, or the love that you see in the movies. Yes, of course, that's also a sort of love. It's a biological love. So before I go to tell you what I am going to speak about, or the kind of love that I'm going to speak about, I'll say what is the kind of love that I'm not going to speak about, but also give you a little bit or a few details about that. Now there is a researcher, Helen Fisher. So she talks about 3 kinds of love. So she says the first is lust, the second romantic love, attraction, and then attachment. And when you talk about spiritual love, you're not talking of any of these 3 kinds of love, not lust, not romantic love, and not attachment, because all of these are driven by hormones so that you can procreate, or we can procreate, which is fair enough. It's a survival urge that has been built into us. So how do we rise above this hormonal driven love is the whole basis of the yogic system that I'm going to be talking about. And we're also going to be learning a few tools whereby we can override this chemically driven love. And she also goes on to say, that is Dr. Fisher goes on to say that where for the first 1.5 to 2 years of romantic love, there are certain areas in the brain that get impaired, which means your capacity to see the truth about the person. And that's why they say love is blind, because for all you know, the person may not be a match for you at all, maybe socially or maybe from value system point of view. And yet, because those hormones have been released, we overrule all of that and think we are in love with the other person. So when we look at spiritual love, what is the sort of love that we are looking at? In the Bible, there are a few quotes. Again, I'm going to religion, but I'll take it away from religion also and look into the spirituality of it. But just so that we know, religion also exemplifies spirituality. And in the Bible it is said, God is love, and those who abide in love abide in God, and God abides in them. Very beautiful saying. And then another saying is, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. And yet many times in our life, all of us have feared or have faced this or had to face this fear of survival. Maybe for you youngsters it's fear of exams. Different fears for different people at different stages in their lives. Now if you look at the yogic perspective of love also, yoga itself is union, yuj, bringing together, just as the lover and the loved come together. Yoga is also that very same union. And yet mostly we tend to think of yoga as a series of asanas or exercises. And there are different paths to reach this union between the lover and the loved. There is karma yoga, where you serve the divine in everybody. There is bhakti yoga, where you are so devoted to the divine spirit that all you can do is only think about this elevated consciousness. Then there is hatha yoga, where you prepare your body, you purify the body, you discipline the body with a lot of love. And then there is classical ashtanga yoga. So if you look at the yogic perspectives of love also, we are looking at this great expansive consciousness, and how do we become one with this great expansive consciousness? Now, so far it could all seem like theory. Now, yes, I understand this universal consciousness, I understand the divine, but how do I actually practice it in my life? Now, that's the beauty of all the tools that are given in the yogic system. I may love a person, I want to unconditionally love them. I want to exude spiritual love. And if you look at one of the mudras in our culture, Vanakkam, Namaskaram, Namaste, it's a very beautiful way of saying the essence in me acknowledges the essence in you from my heart, which means I am actively sending you love. That is what the Namaskaram or Namaste means. And it's such a beautiful, such a subtle culture that has gone and thought of all these body language, this gesture, whereby in one simple gesture of a Namaskaram or a Namaste, we can spread the love, we can give the love. So the first point, as we saw in the Namaskara Mudra, is acknowledging that we have the divine in us and acknowledging our own essence, and also acknowledging different areas which feel blocked or which do not feel loved. So that again we retrack and say, okay, I want to love myself, I want to be present to the divine in myself, but how do I do it? So we'll do some practices. Now again, if you look at Arkaya yoga also, we see one's multi-dimensional being and lovingly align them. We look at our many dimensions, which means the body, emotion, mind, and see how to lovingly bring them together. In the Vedas also speak of love, and the Islamic tradition also speaks of love. So we'll start with some very, very simple practices to work on cultivating this love in our system. Now, in the yogic system, we have many energy centers, which are called chakras. Now, the aim of the talk is not to go into the details about it, but just to work on one specific chakra or to work on one specific area of the body that is connected to love, which is called the Anahata chakra. So, I am going to request everybody to first take your right hand and place it on your heart. And just keep your eyes closed, just for a couple of minutes. You can keep your eyes closed and connect to this heart center in your own body. How is your heart feeling this afternoon? How are you feeling this afternoon? And simply be present to your body, present to how you're sitting. Present to your breathing. Simply observe the breath. Watch your breath just for a few more seconds. And you can slowly, gently open your eyes, take your time, there's no rush. And we're going to do a very, very simple practice to open the heart. Now, whenever we feel backstabbed, when we feel betrayed, when there are unresolved emotions, all of us want to love in an expansive way. But sometimes what happens is, because of anger, because of fear, because of pride, because of various emotions that we have not dealt with in ourselves, we are unable to love unconditionally and fully. So this very simple practice called the Jyoti Prema Kriya. Jyoti is inner illumination and Prema is love or a divine love. We're going to open our hearts. So the first step in this, you can either stand up or sit down and do this, is to bring your palms down. So I'm going to ask everybody to stand up. That way you have some movement happening. Instead of sitting for long periods. You just have some movement, and we're going to breathe in and open our hearts wide, just as you're going to embrace the whole world. And as you breathe out, you're going to bring it down. So that's all we're going to do. So we'll start from here. Breathe in, open, expand, expand, and breathe out and bring it down. So shall we do this together? Is everybody with me? Do you want to be more loving? Okay, fantastic. So at least we got 1 point right. Everybody wants to be more loving. Anybody feels betrayed by a close friend, hurt by what a friend said, and wants to let go of it, wants to forgive the friend? Yes, no? Yes, no, okay, so somebody said no, okay, you still want to hold on to it, okay, great. So we'll do this practice, breathing in, we're going to open our arms wide. So when somebody tells you, how much do you love me, are you going to say this much, this much, this much, or this much? And how much, this is also a measure of how much you love yourself. So we'll see how much you love yourself. How much do you love yourself? Let's say, breathe in, and arms nice wide open, and breathe out, release. Once again, breathe in. We'll do it just 3 times. Do it with the breath, do it with the rhythm, and breathe out and release. And one last time, breathe in, nice opening. Let your shoulder blades touch each other. They won't, but just get a feeling. And breathe out and release, and you can sit down. So this is a very, very simple Kriya. Of course, there are more nuances to this that are there when you go deeper into the practice. But the point that I wanted to make is that as we move consciously, we release a lot of tightness in the muscle that is held because of unresolved emotion. Whenever there's fear, we tense up, we tighten up. You know, this is how we sit. There's a curling in because you're afraid who's going to punch you in the gut. So by consciously opening up, we are opening to life again, we are opening to love again. And once again, when you're upset, angry, you're irritated with a friend, your breathing is very, very short, very, very rapid. And once again, as we breathe deeply, as we open to life, we tune into this cosmic mantra, the mantra being, I am love and I am life. So thank you very much for being here. I'd just like to share a poem that I'd written and also put a video of the kids that I work with in the slums. My entire life has just been an expression of the love that has exuded because of my practice, because of my life. So the poem also was written when a lot of people, as I travel, they asked me, where are you from, what are your roots? So there were all these questions, and one day this just came through me, and the poem is called The Eternal Embrace. There is a space where I'm neither man nor woman, neither young nor old, no color, no race, not even a face. All I feel is my heart bursting with love, holding the divine and you in a long, long embrace. So that is the love I was talking about to you. Thank you very much for being such a loving and present audience. And I'm just going to ask them to play the video. I just love these kids, and people ask me, oh, you're doing charity work. I don't like the word somehow, because I feel that I am loving these kids and they love me back 1,000-fold, 10,000-fold. You know, that's the kind of love I've received from these kids. So please enjoy the video, and thank you.
A day in the life of Arkaya Foundation, empowering children.
Arkaya means unto the light, and what we are doing through Arkaya Foundation is that we are enhancing and empowering the lives of many. Now, Arkaya Foundation has been involved with children from the slums, and they're a beautiful and bright set of children who bring a lot of joy to me. And the volunteers have been going over there and facilitating many programs, yoga programs, not just the asanas, but the meditation programs, the yogic lifestyle, teaching them about herbs, organic living, how to grow herbs in their garden, and how to live in a clean environment, because as you know, the slums are quite dirty. So just to be responsible for their space, learn or be exposed to many arts like photography, filmmaking, many management consultants are there teaching them. So these kids have been exposed to a variety of subjects and opportunities that normally they wouldn't be exposed to. So what we want is to keep this consistent, keep this going, and keep this growing. And that's why we need the support of the community, energetically, physically, financially. So thank you for being with us.
The vision of Arkaya Foundation is to provide the children with positive role models and support systems so that they do not end up on the streets, taking drugs, selling drugs, begging, getting exploited, getting into crime or prostitution. We want them to rise to their full potential and know themselves to be children of the divine consciousness. You can support us by donating and volunteering. For information, contact arkayavancouver@hotmail.com.